I don't know that you had a chance to see it, but the internet was absolutely enthralled with his interview with Vince McMahon. I saw a lot of people who were very critical of Pat and his interview style and the way he positioned the whole presentation. I don't know what they expected. If you've seen Pat's show before, if you've seen him on SmackDown, you know who he is, you know what he's about, you know his style, you know his enthusiasm. And oh, by the way, you know he's on the WWE payroll. I thought, given those confines, Pat McAfee, as Dave Meltzer would say, 5 stars. I thought it was a phenomenal thing because we really got to see, and I've only had, I think, 2 conversations with Vince McMahon. But that was more Vince and less Mr. McMahon than we normally ever see. And I think that was cool just to get just a minute inside of his brain. And yes, okay, there were some silly things, but that's really Vince. And I thought that was so cool that fans got to see that really for the first time. I thought it was very well done. What'd you think?
I've known Vince since what, 2000, 2001, whenever. I don't remember when I started there as a talent.
I think you popped up in 2002.
Okay, so 20 years.
Yeah.
And before that, I knew of him from a competitive perspective. But having face-to-face worked with him, been in the ring with him, creatively, blah, 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 blah. Spent a cup of coffee there in 2019, and I was with him a lot, like way more than I wanted to be. I never got past, Vince McMahon has an electromagnetic force that surrounds him. And that electromagnetic force is at such a high frequency, 24 hours a day, that you can't get through it. You can't, it's very difficult to see the real Vince McMahon through this electromagnetic veil that he lives within. And I saw more glimpses of the Vince McMahon that I wish I would have gotten to know during that Pat McAfee interview than I did during the combined times that I've spent with Vince McMahon over the last 2 decades.
Wow.
So hats off, Pat McAfee. Amazing job. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I think a lot of folks were expecting there was going to be some sort of angle because, boy, the internet had been abuzz saying, can you believe Pat McAfee's going to wrestle Vince McMahon? And you and I spoke briefly, and we thought, there's no way 76-year-old Vince is going to actually do that for a variety of reasons. But I just assumed, hey, if Pat McAfee is going to wrestle somebody for Vince, then maybe it's Austin Theory. But now there's a lot of chatter that maybe it's Corey Graves or whatever it is. It won't be Vince McMahon in the ring. And I know that you got a chuckle out of all those reports that said, oh, it's definitely Pat and Vince because.
Who said that, by the way? Who reported that?
Well, it was reported everywhere that Vince McMahon.
Where did it start, Conrad? Come on now. You know where I'm going. Where did that start?
I mean, the first place I saw it was the Observer.
There you go.
You drink your moonshine.
It's not moonshine. It's water. It's what time is it here? It's 8:21 in the morning here. I'm not drinking moonshine yet.
But it comes in a jar like that in Alabama.
It sure does.
So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were expecting there to be some physicality. Just me as a fan, I don't want to see that. I want to hear from Vince. I would much rather have a Vince interview than have that Mr. McMahon persona.
Yep. And the only person that I would enjoy watching Vince interview with now would be Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen, but I think Pat did as good a job as anybody that has interviewed Vince McMahon yet. And I agree with you, brother. If it would have turned into an angle, people would gag on it. It's just a promotional opportunity. It's just, And we see, not that it's bad, we like watching wrestling because of the unique ways they come out. You know, the MJF interview, when he did his babyface interview, that was a scene that was to launch a storyline, an angle, if you will, call it whatever you want. And we love seeing them. When we tune in to see wrestling, we expect to see that. That's why we're tuning in, to see that kind of entertainment and watch things evolve and explode right in front of our face. But if you tune into an interview, a one-on-one interview, your expectations are completely different. And you want to get to know the person being interviewed. That's your expectation. So if they would have turned that into an angle to promote anything, people, they would have shit all over everybody's expectations on Pat McAfee shows, and they wouldn't be they'd be talking about it, but in a really negative way. So I think I think they just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, because if we want to see an angle, we could see that on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. But if we just want to see Vince talk, well, we've never been able to see that. So I really dug it, and I did laugh out loud at his whole shtick about being late. Oh, and then they want to tell you why you're late. Nobody gives a shit. It was so great. That was the real Vince. I mean, I don't know the real Vince, but that felt like, okay, this is not a character. This is really the way this cat thinks. And I thought it was fantastic. So hate on haters. I thought Pat McAfee did as good of a job as you could have done. And I'm thankful it happened because, well, we all watched. And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up to you, Eric, because, and I know we're going long here. We are going to get to Victory Road 2012, I promise. But